Imagine an ancient world without satellites, computers, or even reliable maps. Yet, empires spanning continents managed to gather critical intelligence, manipulate their enemies, and maintain iron-fisted control through elaborate spy networks that would shock modern intelligence agencies. Here's what most people don't know. Sun Tzu, the legendary author of The Art of War in 5th century BC China, dedicated an entire chapter, Chapter 13, the use of spies, to the absolute necessity and various types of espionage, arguing that a skilled commander must employ them relentlessly. He detailed 5 distinct types of spies, from local informants to doomed spies used for deception, highlighting their cost and invaluable impact on warfare, stating that without them, a state cannot prosper. Centuries later in ancient India, the Mauryan Empire under Chandragupta Maurya and his strategist Chanakya, also known as Kautilya, developed an even more intricate espionage system, documented in the Arthashastra around the 4th century BC. Kautilya's treatise outlines an extensive network of spies, or Gudapurashas, including mendicants, hermits, merchants, artisans, and poisoners, each designed to infiltrate different strata of society. These agents were employed not only in enemy territory, but also within their own kingdom, monitoring officials and even the populace to prevent dissent, showcasing a level of internal surveillance that far predates modern concepts of state security. The Arthashastra even details methods for counter-espionage and recruiting double agents. Switching to ancient Egypt, intelligence gathering was vital for pharaohs protecting their vast empire along the Nile. During the New Kingdom, particularly under Ramesses II in the 13th century BC, intelligence operations were crucial for military campaigns. Before the pivotal Battle of Kadesh against the Hittites, Egyptian scouts and spies were deployed to gather information on enemy troop movements and dispositions, albeit sometimes imperfectly, leading to a near catastrophe for Ramesses due to misinformation. The Amarna letters, dating from the 14th century BC, further reveal a network of diplomatic correspondence and intelligence exchanges between Egyptian pharaohs and various Canaanite and Near Eastern rulers, filled with pleas for military aid and reports on rival activities, underscoring constant surveillance. The mighty Persian Empire, stretching from Greece to India, maintained control through an ingenious system known as the king's eyes and ears. These were highly trusted officials and inspectors, known as Hazarapats or Aparakas, who traveled extensively across the empire. Their primary mission was to report directly to the great king on local governance, potential rebellions, and the overall loyalty of satraps, provincial governors, ensuring no one amassed too much power or plotted against the throne. This vast intelligence network was supported by the Angarian or Royal Road System, a rapid postal service with relay stations every few miles, allowing vital intelligence to travel hundreds of miles in just a few days, drastically reducing information lag. In ancient Greece, espionage often took on a much darker and more brutal form, particularly in Sparta. The infamous Crypteia was a secret institution where young Spartan hoplites in training were sent out annually to live off the land, and more horrifyingly, to terrorize and kill helots, the enslaved Messenian population. While primarily a brutal training ground and a means of population control, the Crypteia also served as a critical intelligence-gathering arm, identifying potential helot leaders or signs of rebellion. These clandestine operatives roamed the countryside, gathering information and eliminating threats under the cover of night, instilling fear and ensuring the helots remained subservient to the Spartan state through ruthless surveillance. Athens, Sparta's perennial rival, employed a different style of intelligence gathering, more focused on political intrigue and diplomatic maneuvering. Figures like the controversial General Alcibiades exemplify this. Known for his cunning and persuasive rhetoric, he frequently switched allegiances between Athens, Sparta, and even Persia during the Peloponnesian War, always carrying crucial strategic intelligence with him. While not a formal spy agency, Athenian ambassadors, merchants, and even citizens traveling abroad acted as informal intelligence gatherers, observing rival cities' defenses, resources, and political sentiments. Public speakers often relied on such information to sway the Athenian assembly, highlighting the importance of soft intelligence in their democracy. Moving to the formidable Roman Republic, military intelligence was paramount for its legions conquering vast territories. The speculators were an early form of military scouts and intelligence officers, initially attached to legions and later to emperors. Their role was critical in reconnaissance, scouting ahead of armies, gathering information on enemy positions, terrain, and troop strengths. They were also used for rapid communication, carrying dispatches between commanders and occasionally executing secret missions or assassinating key figures. These elite soldiers were highly skilled, often operating behind enemy lines, making them the Roman equivalent of special forces combined with intelligence operatives, crucial for the Republic's expansion. As the Roman Empire grew, so did its need for internal intelligence. This led to the rise of the frumentarii during the early imperial period. Originally, these were military officials responsible for procuring grain, frumentum, for the legions, giving them a legitimate reason to travel widely across the empire, particularly to remote provinces. However, their extensive travel network soon made them ideal for a secondary role, gathering intelligence on provincial governors, local unrest, and potential conspiracies against the emperor. They effectively became the empire's secret police, capable of arresting suspects and delivering them to Rome, a dual role that blurred the lines between logistics and clandestine surveillance, making them feared figures. Emperor Hadrian, who ruled from 117 to 138 AD, masterfully leveraged the frumentarii for his own personal oversight of the vast Roman Empire. Unlike many emperors who remained in Rome, Hadrian spent more than half of his 21-year reign traveling across the provinces, from Britain to Egypt. He used the frumentarii not just to report on local grievances and administrative corruption, but also to gather intelligence on the loyalty of legions and potential threats to his authority. This direct, first-hand intelligence gathering, combined with their widespread network, allowed him to maintain tight control and implement his policies effectively, proving that even emperors relied heavily on well-placed eyes and ears to govern effectively. The Byzantine Empire, often considered the continuation of the Roman Empire in the East, developed espionage into an art form, especially in the realm of diplomacy. Faced with numerous powerful enemies, Byzantium relied heavily on superior intelligence gathering to survive for over 1,000 years. Their diplomatic missions were often staffed with agents tasked with observing rival courts, assessing military strengths, identifying internal divisions, and even spreading disinformation. They cultivated networks of informants in neighboring kingdoms, from the Bulgars to the Arabs, ensuring Constantinople always had an information advantage. This proactive information warfare allowed them to often play enemies against each other or anticipate attacks, saving countless lives and resources. One of the Byzantine Empire's most closely guarded secrets, and a testament to their intelligence superiority, was Greek fire. This incendiary weapon, possibly a petroleum-based substance, could burn on water and was devastatingly effective against enemy ships, particularly during sieges of Constantinople. Its composition was such a state secret that only a select few knew the formula and how to operate the specialized projection devices. Any attempts by foreign powers to discover its recipe were met with extreme measures, including execution. This highly classified military technology, along with the intelligence that protected its secret, gave the Byzantines a decisive tactical advantage for centuries, a true ancient WMD. Back in China, the Han Dynasty, 206 BC, 220 AD, further refined intelligence gathering for expansion and internal control. Emperor Wu of Han, who ruled for 54 years, famously used a vast intelligence network to secure his imperial borders and expand Chinese influence. His agents would travel disguised as merchants or scholars along the Silk Road, gathering vital information about the Western regions, Central Asian nomadic tribes and kingdoms. This intelligence was critical for planning military campaigns, establishing trade alliances, and projecting Han power. They also employed economic espionage, assessing resources and trade routes of rivals to gain strategic advantages, transforming knowledge into geopolitical power. The Silk Road itself, a network of trade routes connecting East and West, was also a conduit for an immense amount of intelligence. While goods flowed, so too did information and misinformation. Han Dynasty agents, as well as those from other empires along the route, understood that control of information was as vital as control of territory. They monitored trade patterns, identified valuable resources, and tracked the movements of rival armies or nomadic raiding parties. This constant exchange of knowledge, often through covert means, shaped diplomatic relations and military strategies across Eurasia, proving that economics and intelligence were inextricably linked long before modern globalization. When the Mongol Empire erupted across Eurasia in the 13th century, their astonishing conquests were not merely due to military prowess, but also to a highly effective intelligence apparatus. Before any major campaign, Mongol scouts, often disguised as ordinary travelers or traders, would infiltrate enemy territories. They gathered detailed information on fortifications, troop numbers, supply lines, and crucially, the psychological state and political divisions within the enemy leadership. This intelligence allowed their generals, like Genghis Khan, to plan surprise attacks, exploit weaknesses, and employ psychological warfare tactics that often led to quick surrenders without a major battle, minimizing their own losses. The Mongol Yam system, their incredible postal and communication network, was also a backbone for their intelligence operations. With relay stations strategically placed every 20-30 miles across their vast empire, couriers could deliver messages and intelligence reports with astonishing speed, sometimes covering hundreds of miles a day. This rapid flow of information from scouts and regional commanders to the Khagan allowed for real-time strategic adjustments and coordinated movements across immense distances. It wasn't just about delivering messages. It was about ensuring that vital intelligence reached decision-makers with unprecedented swiftness, giving the Mongols a decisive edge in communication superiority. Even among the Norsemen, who are often portrayed as purely raiding warriors, intelligence played a vital role. While not as formalized as empires, Viking leaders employed herdmen, their personal retinue and trusted advisors, who would often serve as scouts and gatherers of information on foreign lands before raids or colonization attempts. Additionally, skalds, the revered poets and storytellers, often traveled widely, both within and outside Norse territories. They weren't just entertainers. Their keen observations of foreign cultures, political dynamics, and geographical details were invaluable intelligence, shared through epic poems and sagas, providing leaders with critical insights for future ventures. Their stories were often intelligence reports in disguise. In Mesoamerica, the Aztec Empire utilized a fascinating form of intelligence gathering through its Pachteca, a specialized class of long-distance merchants. While their primary role was trade, the Pachteca were also highly valued imperial spies, traveling to distant, often hostile, territories disguised as traders. They gathered crucial information on rival city-states' military strengths, political alliances, economic resources, and even potential vulnerabilities. This intelligence was directly reported back to the Aztec Emperor and the High Council, enabling strategic planning for conquest or tribute extraction. Their dual role allowed them to move freely and gather information without arousing suspicion, making them indispensable to Aztec expansion. The Inca Empire in the Andes, known for its incredible administrative efficiency, relied on an advanced communication and intelligence system built upon its extensive road network, the Quhapacnian. While not spies in the traditional sense, a network of highly trained runners, or chasquis, relayed messages and intelligence across thousands of miles at astonishing speeds. These runners were not just couriers. They observed and reported on conditions along the roads and in the territories they traversed, acting as the eyes and ears of the Sapa Inca. Crucially, the quipu, not based record-keeping devices, could encode detailed logistical and census data, providing intelligence on resources and populations for centralized control. Even as we transition out of the purely ancient period, the legacy of these spy networks continued. Take Renaissance Venice, a powerful maritime republic that operated one of the most sophisticated intelligence agencies of its time. The Council of Ten, its highest executive body, established an elaborate system of informants and secret agents, both at home and abroad. They monitored citizens, uncovered plots, and engaged in industrial espionage to protect Venice's trade secrets, particularly in shipbuilding and glassmaking. A lion's mouth mailbox in the Doge's palace allowed anonymous denunciations, creating an atmosphere of constant surveillance and suspicion, proving that the ancient art of espionage only grew more complex with time. From the doomed spies of Sun Tzu to the Frumentarii of Rome and the Pachteca of the Aztecs, the methods and motivations for espionage have remained remarkably consistent over millennia. The desire to gain an advantage, anticipate threats, and maintain power through secret knowledge is a timeless human endeavor. What these ancient civilizations reveal is that sophisticated intelligence gathering wasn't a modern invention. It was an integral, often hidden, component in the rise and fall of empires, shaping history in ways most people never realize. Understanding this secret history helps us appreciate the deep roots of today's intelligence agencies and the enduring human fascination with secrets.